FactCheck.org is celebrating 15 years. Maybe it's time they got some standards. Hi, thanks for watching. Today is Friday, Fact Check Friday, and today I want to talk about FactCheck.org. That's right, they've been around 15 years, checking the facts, and I would like to examine and challenge them to be better. So, December 5th, FactCheck.org is celebrating 15 years of fact-checking. And they put up a story where they patted themselves on the back about how great they are. And it's a nice read. It's interesting. I get down here near the bottom, and it says, sadly, our non-partisan approach doesn't sit well with some. A study by the Duke University Reporters Lab found a big divide with those on the right more likely to denigrate fact-checking than those on the left. We think that says more about them than about us. Well, FactCheck.org, I'm here to tell you from a guy on the left, it's you. I am not for Team Red or Team Blue. I'm for Team Truth. And I hope you can appreciate that. But let's get to FactCheck.org, shall we? I have picked an article from just last week, the 28th, entitled Trump Misuses Data in Ninth Circuit Attack. President Donald Trump wrongly tweeted that the largest federal appellate court, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, is, quote, overturned more than any circuit in the country, comma, 79%. Now, this is something that fact checkers do all the time, and it drives me nuts. It is so easy to fact check Donald Trump. All you have to do is he tweets things, and in a tweet, he doesn't have a whole lot of room for things, and so he just crams things together. He's not always the most meticulous at his figures and things like that. But all you need to do is say, Donald Trump said this. We did not find any evidence of that. It's that simple. Donald Trump said this number. It's actually this number. No big deal. That's how you should accurately fact check him. But that's not what the fact checkers do. What they do is they try to interpret what he's saying, and then they have a different interpretation, and then they say that he's lying. Well, you can do that, but it's not persuasive. Sure, it gets you lots of clicks. Sure, everybody on the left thinks that you're fantastic because you're putting down Trump, and that's great. Yay, you beat up on Trump. You called Trump a liar. Yay. But you have no journalistic integrity whatsoever. And with this story, I don't even need to go anywhere. I'm going to fact check this article based on the article itself. That's how bad it is. During the 2017 term, the Supreme Court reviewed just 15 of the thousands of cases ruled on by the Ninth Circuit, which covers nearly a dozen Western states and territories. The High Court ended up reversing 12 rulings, affirming 2 and splitting 4-4 on another. That's a reversal rate of 80%, which was not the highest of any appellate court. Okay, now let's go back to what Trump said. Is overturned more than any circuit court in the country, 79%. Okay, so if they have a problem because he said 79% and it's 80%, I don't care. That is ridiculous. That's stupid. Who cares? 1%, it's essentially the same thing. Let's not worry about the 79 or the 80%. That's essentially correct. But Trump says it's overturned more than any circuit court in the country. Well, let's read paragraph 3 here. Even though they had a smaller number of rulings reversed, 3 other appellate courts, the 1st, 3rd, and 6th, had higher percentages of their Supreme Court reviewed decisions overturned, according to the SCOTUS blog statistics. So right here, we're 3 paragraphs in, and we've already debunked this awful fact check. Trump said, is overturned more than any circuit court in the country. It was overturned 12 times last year. No other court had 12 cases overturned. It was the most overturned. It's true. And after 18 paragraphs where they go into all kinds of details to try to weasel this to not be true, at the bottom, Donald Trump, President of the United States, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit is overturned more than any circuit court in the country, 79%. False. They say that this is false. Where in paragraph 3, they say that it had more cases overturned. And then they get into, but other ones had a higher percentage. He didn't say it had the higher percentage. He said it's the most overturned, and it is. Now, let me give you an example. Let me make it super simple. If I am to talk about people killed by police in this country, okay, there are different ways to look at it. But if I were to say white people are killed more often than black people by police in this country, would that be true or would it be false? So let's look at 2018. This is through October of this year. 318 white people have been killed by police. 158 black people have been killed by police. 109 Hispanic people have been killed by police this year through October. So we have 318, 158, 109. Police have killed more white people than any other race. That's a fact. Now, if you want to say, but black people only make up 13% of the population, well, that's true. So if you were to say that they are killed at a higher rate by police, that would also be true. But that doesn't take away from the fact that a 318 is more than 158. Okay? Let's go back to what Trump said. Overturned more than any circuit court in the country. Now, it shouldn't come as a shock that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is overturned more than any other court in the country. Well, why is that? The Ninth Circuit has 61 million people. It's almost 20% of the U.S. population. It's by far the largest court of appeals. It's twice as big as the next biggest court of appeals. So it would only make sense that the largest court of appeals would probably overrule the most number of cases. That only makes sense. And what Trump did is he said, hey, look, this court of appeals is overturned the most, and it is overturned the most. And that's the problem that I have with this fact-checking, because the fact-checker, D'Angelo Gore, he goes through 18 paragraphs of all this nonsense, trying to explain why it's not even important, and the Sixth Circuit, and 87% in Kentucky and Tennessee, and different circuit courts, and blah, 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 blah. Look, the Ninth Circuit is the biggest by far, and the Supreme Court overruled more of their cases than anyone else. Sure, it wasn't at the highest rate, but they overturned more of the Ninth Circuit cases than any other circuit. That's the truth. Now, what would be a legitimate fact check? They would say, Trump said the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit is overturned more than any other circuit in the country. You would say, well, yes, it also happens to be the largest as well, and it really doesn't mean a whole lot. Well, that would be fair. But what I find is that the fact-checking sites are not fair. They're not fair. I understand. You call Trump a liar, you get more clicks. You get more revenue. That's what the cable news does. But the problem is you lose your credibility. This article has no credibility. They fact-check this. They say that it's false. It's not false. It's true. He may have made a mistake with 79% and 80%. Okay. It's not false. But let me know. Was I fair with factcheck.org? Let me know in the comments. Peace. My goal is 2,500 subscribers by the end of the year. You can help me reach that goal by clicking like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Peace.